couple minutes we get to share together. Let me just make sure everything's off here. Got to mute this computer because no one needs to hear themselves shooting out a live video. Where are you guys calling from? Where are you tuning in from today? Drop that in the box so I can see you, stay up with you. Tell me who you are. We're going live. And, oh, let me see. One more thing to press. Got a little bit late today. I got on calls with clients and doing such fun work. But, 1:30 shows up and it's time to be live. So drop a message in here. Let me make sure I can see comments. Don't think I'm going to be able to see comments on Facebook today. On YouTube, unfortunately. But if you're on Facebook, no problem. If you're on YouTube and you want to go watch on Facebook and get involved in the comments, go over to the ShowBiz Blueprint page on. Hey, there's Michael. Awesome. Let me make sure the comments are alive. Yes, Michael. Very good. From Maryland. Someone else was watching from Maryland the other day. I forget who that was, but anyway, very good. Indiana, Houston. Hey, Jim, man, good to see you again. I wish I could see you. It's kind of one way, but got to hook up with Jim in Maryland. Already tying together two comments and flew over Indiana to get there. So good. Micah from Chatsworth. This is so good. I don't know if anyone's watching on YouTube, but I can't get your comments. Scenic New Jersey, always a beautiful place to be calling in from. Hey, what are good times of the day for mini classes for you guys? Is this a good time? Drop in the comments also what time in your local area, I guess. But what time works for you? Well, I schedule these in a couple times a week, and I kind of just throw the dart at the board to find out the times that I can do it, and then I get going. Nashville, Suntan Valley, Arizona. I'm coming to Arizona in April, 19th through 22nd. Dan, if we can hook up there. Hey, Mitch, man, good to see you too from Colorado. Awesome. Very good, everybody. We're going to jump in. And Bay Area, in the house. Phil, good to see you, man. Give some airtime to the Bay Area because, gosh, the Bay Area, about 2.5, 3 hours from me, and I miss it. Lived out here in the country for almost 16 years now since I left the Bay Area. And it all seems so long ago. Grabbed my infant into a car with my wife and infant, and we just moved. So what would it be like to live on acreage out in the country where there's no traffic and go visit San Francisco? It's been a pretty good call, but time's gone quickly, for sure. All right, good. This is a good time for me, thanks. Good, maybe we'll get some more times. This is a fine time. Good, works out good for me. Whole bunch of work in the morning, alive, and then we'll, plus these things are so much about replay. My gosh, we may get 20, 30 people on here live, but the replay is getting, up in the 9,000 views nowadays. It's really, really awesome. So I'm glad they're going out that way. Let me get one more thing on the screen here. Just
morning, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Live.
I got to turn off the volume. I just want to have this on here so I can, another backup to see comments with you guys. All right, good. So today I wanted to talk about these 3 career killers and, how to actually turn them into a gift. That's because it's so easy to look at these things and just get lost in the pain of them all. So I want to not do that. Hey, Danny, good to see you, man. Man, one of my favorite people. Gosh, just watching Danny Orleans play his career out in his life. He's always just doing such good stuff. Really, really nice. And I know I'll just own that I know Facebook is, the highlights reel, of course. And also got to spend 10 weeks with Danny last year in ShowBiz Blueprint. So got to know him a little bit better. Beyond all the great stuff that happens in his performing world, in his lecturing world, and his writing world, and all that stuff. So let's dig into this. 3 career killers that are actually gifts. And I want to take you guys on a little journey here where we step away from the low-hanging fruit of thinking of these things as just problems, and we actually get to look at them for what they are, because that's when they can serve us, right? When they can quit punishing us and begin serving us. So I grabbed 3 of the big ones that I've seen from entertainers after 2007 to 2018, 11 years of working with entertainers. And being a professional entertainer for 34 years, I know everything that I'm talking about from a very personal level. I mean, this was all a whole bunch of work, and ongoing work, of course, to keep this stuff all in check. Good. So let's dig in. How to use blame, jealousy, and procrastination to your advantage. Good. Real quick, we did the where are you? Share this with a friend. There's really a nice, easy way to do this. You guys seen this? It's on right here. Where is it? Oh, maybe I got rid of it. But on the mobile, there's a nice little button to just share with a friend right down by the comments. Drop somebody's name in there. Get a friend in here, because I've said many times, this stuff is one thing to work on alone, or to hear alone and then put away in a box where it's safe and you don't even have to work on it. Or you can tag someone, get someone into a mastermind with you where you can hold each other accountable. That's where the power comes in. So hit some hearts and likes, a little hearts and likes button. I'm actually running a test to see how that helps. A coach that I was working with on some Facebook Live stuff told me that it escalates the way Facebook puts it out into the world if your people are hitting hearts and likes and all those laughs or whatever the little buttons are. So tag some of those, and let's just continue running this test and see how it plays out. This mini class is by request, actually. I've heard these 3 things from people who have been watching the mini classes that I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. And send yours in. You know, if you have something you'd like me to talk about, if you have a problem you're facing, something that keeps coming up in your career, send it to me. Send me an idea for a mini class. I'll definitely put one together on it. And get uncomfortable during this, all right? Nothing happens in the land of comfort. I hate when they say at the beginning of a show, sit back, relax, and enjoy. I hate an audience to be sitting back and relaxing during my show. That was never in fact, I always told MCs never to say that when they were introducing us. You guys do this? I gave people always a very specific introduction with Raspini spelled out phonetically, because we have been introduced as so many things over the years that have nothing to do with Raspini. So I spelt it out phonetically, where the accent goes, and every single thing to say to set us up for our first joke, for a perfect show. And sit back, relax, and enjoy was never one of them. 3 career killers that breed and destroy. Where they come from, how to identify them. We're going to hit that. And I'm going to talk briefly about the safety they provide, because if they didn't provide you something good, we wouldn't be doing them. I promise you that. We're going to turn their gifts into your secret power. We're going to show you ways to just reverse those on the spot. Take the things that have been crippling for years, your whole lifetime, I don't know, and turn them on their head so that you can instantly use them as gifts. And then how to take it from a practice into an actual habit, where you're able to identify one of them sneaking in, stop them in their tracks, turn it around into a gift right away. Sounds good? Hit some stars, hit some likes, some hearts if you think that sounds good, and we're going to get going. We're going to head right into the good ones. You know, I don't even know how to do this stuff. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, you hit those little things. You know, the hearts used to fly across the screen in Facebook, you know, like across, and now they just kind of go up the side. So the wonders of Facebook, man, right? It's funny. It's one of the things I always talk about, building a business or building something on somebody else's platform. There's really so little we can control about how Facebook, we can't control anything about how Facebook does something. So I come in and do these classes and I'll find something out just during it. You go, oh, wow, that's different. How about that? So let's talk about the first one, blame, the lowest possible hanging fruit. This is an external situation that one chooses to see as a problem rather than an opportunity. And a great example of this, I was in Europe last summer and I met this really smart kid, man. Oh my gosh, he was in his second year of college or something, probably 20 years old. And he spoke perfect English. We were in Sweden, but I just ended up having this great conversation with him. And he was working on something that was so powerful for the future. And I can't even remember what it was right now, the specific field he was in. But he said, wow, you have so much power right now to turn the world around. And he had this weird sentence. He said, oh, I don't want that responsibility. And me being me, I said, my gosh, don't think of it as a responsibility. Think of it as an opportunity. And his frickin' face lit up. And at the end of the night, he thanked me just for putting that little spin on something. So I haven't stayed in touch with him. He's a friend of our foreign exchange students' family. I do want to hear what he's up to, though. But boy, just the idea of his initial thing, I don't want that responsibility, to no, man, You're 20 and you're a genius. This is called opportunity. Think Bill Gates, think Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. Think about people who are seeing a problem and turning it into a huge opportunity. So blame usually comes across in some sentence like the market or the industry or the booker or the client. It's always got the and then somebody else, right? Somebody else that we can take it out of ourselves. And there's always someone else responsible. If it wasn't for this, I would. And that's a real common piece of when you know you're talking about when you're in the blame mode. So that's a key flag to look out for, because on the next slide we're going to look at turning it into a gift. But if it wasn't for this, I would. Whatever comes after that, there's always something. It seems like the easiest way to handle adversity, but really, when you think about it, is it safe? Is it the easiest way to handle? Let's look at the safety it provides. There is a part of us that fears change. Fears change. It's a little tiny piece of the brain about the size of an almond. The R complex, the medical name, also known as the lizard brain, and that little sucker. It's air traffic control for seeking blame, right? Blame, external forces, anything to keep us safe. It's what's responsible for fight or flight in our brain. Early man that just had the only two choices: fight, stay in the fight, or just get the hell out of there. So that's the lizard brain, and it's the happy place. Because once you credit blame, it's out of your hands. So that's a huge piece of safety. I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't have to solve it. I don't want that responsibility. No, it's an opportunity. So let's not hand it over to blame. Be on the lookout for that lizard brain kicking it over. Blame is a calendar eater, and I don't know why I put this on the safety slide, but it does help time pass. If you're feeling like there's no, it's funny, on some level you could actually kind of think, well, maybe I have to work 10 more years, and if I can keep that blame in check, I don't have to be responsible for not making enough money, not booking enough shows, not being popular enough, not getting enough incoming inquiries, all these things. So there's safety, there's great safety in that, but at its core, it is a calendar eater. It'll kick your calendar's butt. So how long have you held a grudge, a resentment, or a fear and let it stop you? It's a powerful thing to look like. ATC Danny's air traffic control. Sorry, I was just trying to fit in a lot of thoughts. Sometimes I'm writing these slides and I forget what I even abbreviated. So that one I'm glad I held on to. The safety also, it's this cozy blanket. There is a cozy blanket for the lizard brain, and the lizard brain's not going to do anything to fight it off, not at all. In fact, it seeks that. It seeks that cozy blanket that it provides, and it saves you from rejection all day long, every day. I guarantee you, the blame piece, the lizard brain, that thing will save you from all kinds of rejection all day long. Even if it's small little things like not picking up the phone or blaming anything on the outside forces, it's saving you from maybe some sort of rejection. And it's going to play into the piece we're going to talk about, our career right here. Let's talk about turning this into a gift. So simple steps. Take a note card if you want. Do one thing live right now. Pop it into the comments or anything. Any way that you can do this to tell on yourself a little bit. Come clean with yourself, and if you want to come clean with with the audience here, inspire someone else to do it, I will do it right along with you. Blame, turning this into a gift. Identify something or someone that you're blaming. Currently, identify someone or something that you're blaming. List what it's cost. List its costs. Sorry about that slide. List its costs to you, past, present, and future. Okay? By the way, this is where I said turning it from a practice into a habit. This is what we're going to connect what you saw on the second slide, how to identify the first and second slides, how to identify it, and the safety piece, when you identify either of those, coming right to this slide and looking at turning it into a gift. So we'll run this, identify it right away. Boom. List what it's cost, past and present, what it's costing you. What's a belief about it that might not be true? I got might in italics there because we don't know if it's true. Byron Katie, man, she's such a wonderful author, a wonderful teacher. She talks about this thing called the work, and she says, is it true? And her next question is it really true? And I thought, God, that's so stupid. That's so using something so for space filling when I first read about it and then first saw her speak live. Then I saw the true magnificence of it. Asking, what's a belief about it that might not be true because we don't know for sure. It may be something. So we're just opening a window. We're just cracking a window. What's a belief that might not be true? Who are you? Who do you have to be for it to be true? Who are you if it's true? Are you scared? Are you weak? Are you powerless? Are you afraid to pick up the phone, have a conversation? Are you afraid to write the email? Are you afraid to take the risks that are required to stand out in this world? Are you afraid to say it, to show it, to be it? Who do you have to be for that belief to be true? I feel like leaving some silence after that. But let me leave it where it's at. What would you have to risk to proceed as if it's not true? Okay? What would you have to do if it wasn't true? Would you have to make the call? Would you have to write the email? Would you have to connect on Twitter and send a direct message? Would you have to walk into an office, have a conversation? If what you were blaming wasn't true, what would you have to risk? And then what's the risk of continuing to believe it's true? Take a look at these slides and look at these. What are there, 6 bullet points on here? Look at these 6 spots and see. Could you commit to that? I'm going to show 2 more of these career killers. I probably could have just done one today on blame. In fact, put in the messages here if this is enough, you know. Awesome, man, look at this one, man. Dean, I made a sizzle video and will email it to potential clients. Dude, I love that. Fantastic. That's the kind of steps you need to take right there. Put in the comments right there. In fact, if this blame one is enough, I can save the other 2 for another video easily. You know, it's funny, as I'm talking to you guys about this and I'm feeling it, actually feeling it in my body as I'm talking about this, I realize this is actually really, really, really deep stuff. You know, this is work that changes a fundamental belief about us, where we are in the world, which then allows us to change our career and then change lives by the audiences we touch. So, you know, if the blame piece is enough for today, drop it in the comments. I can stop. We can talk about this one a little bit more, or I can go on to the other 2. But this is where it goes from being into a practice into being a habit. Simply identifying, hey, am I blaming this? Am I leaning into the safety that blame gives me, that using blame gives me? Am I feeling some of those, you know, that I don't have to own it, that it's somebody else's fault? And if you're doing that, can you quickly identify it, list the costs of it? Open a small window. What's a belief about this that might not be true? Just, you know, not even saying that it isn't true, but maybe there's a window there that it isn't what I'm blaming it on. And then identifying, who do you have to be if it's true? Who are you if it's true? What risk would you have to take for it not to be true, right? If you had to proceed as if it wasn't true, what would you have to risk? What would you have to do? And then the risk of continuing to believe that it's true. What's the cost? What's the risk of that? You know, the calendar eater, the loss of income, the loss of impact on the world, the loss of possibilities to do what you love more than anything else. Okay, yeah, man. Dean's like, enough. So Dean, you know what? There's some people just saying to keep going. I'm going to go with it. It feels like I could actually do some more stuff with this, and we're on a roll, and the rest of this week is kind of packed. So let's keep going. Wow, holy cow, man. That's the one that could stop you, right, Mitch? I recently lost my magic assistant. It had stopped me. So, I mean, that one, right? I mean, and maybe you're blaming it on that, Mitch. You know, maybe that's something you're looking at and blaming it on that. So, I mean, this is great just to look at that perfect one right here. You know, losing this first one. You know, I lost my assistant. The cost, you know, you could identify the cost of that right now. It's kind of stopped you in your tracks. What's a belief that might not be true? That I can be bigger without that assistant. That I can get an assistant that brings something to the show that was never there and I never even imagined. It's a tiny window. Not even saying it's true, man. Not even saying it's true, but just saying, what if we just identify a couple things that might be true? So who are you if it's not true? Who are you if you can't believe that blame? Back up where you were? Higher than you were? Lower than you were? You know, what's that range? What's the possibility? And what do you have to risk to proceed it if it's not true? You have to believe one of those little cracks. One of those little cracks you opened. You have to at least believe it. Just kind of open the window a little bit. Step into it. Live as if. Act as if. And then just identify, man, if you're not going to do it, what's the risk of believing it? What's the risk of allowing it to just continue to stop you? You've been doing this long enough to know what the risk is, the real risk, right? Okay. Good. Let's move on to the second killer, and let's peek into this one. Try and move through this a little faster. Jealousy, so natural and so damaging. Jealousy's a beast, man. This is an internal snow job conducted by the ego. It often has sentences like, why bother? It's already been done. I'm too late. I'm too old. She's better than me. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. You know, that's the underlying message. The stuff that comes out is they suck. They're stupid. You know, it's just a bunch of bull. I just heard a podcast this morning. I took a hike this morning and listened to Penn Sunday School. Man, I love Penn Jillette's podcast called Penn Sunday School. He talked about this story he had in his head about Cirque du Soleil for the last 30 years. Then he got to know the people, and he got invited to do this one night benefit with them. Such a nice podcast, though. But boy, there's a dude who's very good at being real, owning his shortcomings, owning his brilliance, and everything in between. But boy, just talked about, you know, that maybe it was some jealousy about it, but he totally came around, and now he like, I love it. Now if Cirque du Soleil wants to do a Penn and Teller show, I'm like, he's like, let's talk. So kind of cool. I love that. So the jealousy piece. It is a cancer and it drains creativity. It's usually a sideways poke at envy, and what I mean by that is it's an unclean way of saying that I envy something. You know, that I kind of like something, but I don't either understand it or I don't want to acknowledge it. So it's kind of this sideways poke at what's really envy. Wrap your brain around that. It's funny, Penn actually came up and said something to that, different words, but said even something like that today on this podcast I was listening to. So like blame, jealousy, a massive time eater, and it leaves you really with nothing to show for it. So let's talk about the safety it provides. It justifies the status quo, which, my gosh, does that feel good on some level? Just to say, hey, this is where I'm at in my career. You know, it's maybe because of blame or all these people who suck get all the work. You know, I've heard so many people say, I'm so much better than that guy who gets all that work. I will own this flat out. Raspini Brothers did very well for 34 years, and the act wasn't a whole lot different than it was what we did at the Renaissance festivals. What got a lot better was the marketing of it, the way we talked about it, the way we thought about it, the way we conveyed what we do to big corporate clients, big corporate buyers, people like the TED Conference, TV show producers. Those were the kind of trade show, people who were having big trade shows. Weren't expecting them to connect any dots. It was literally us saying, here's exactly what it looks like and here's the benefits to you. So, I mean, yeah, could it have just gone to jealousy, like those guys get all the trade show work? Yeah, or you can, because that would have certainly justified the status quo of us not working any. I would have loved that. It sets up an us versus them arena, you know, one of the biggest, most successful story arcs in the world, right? The us versus them. It's powerful beyond words. Usually fantastic fodder for gossip, if that's your thing. It's free and plentiful. Jealousy is everywhere, and you can make it show up in your life so easily. And in some way, it provides a sense of superiority to those who have it. You know, Penn owned it in this podcast I was listening to today. It was great, man. You just literally, you know, it's a sense of superiority. I mean, Penn and Teller have a lot to feel superior about. Oh my gosh, what they've done with their careers beyond measure, beyond compare, and still hating on Cirque du Soleil was something that I extracted from what he was saying, that it made them feel a little bit better. Like it wasn't doing pure circus. You know, he even said, like, I'm part of circus trash, I think he called himself, you know, from Ringling Brothers' day. That's not real circus. So there was a sense of superiority. Let's touch on turning the jealousy piece into a gift. Yeah, hey, man. Danny, you've been in the magic world 30, 40 years, man. Jealousy equals envy. Exists big time among magicians. And I will stand by, I think it's a sideways poke at it. I think envy in its purest form is very nice. It's complimentary, it's supportive, it's envy, you know, man, I envy what you're doing. Jealousy is a sideways poke at it, and clean that up. We're going to talk about that right now, actually. Watch this. Identify someone you're jealous of, right? Find somebody. Easy enough to do. Get under the pettiness and identify and see what you actually respect about them. This is exactly, man, this is the walk. It's funny, I didn't even know I was going to talk about this in this live when I was putting together the jealousy piece that I was going to talk about the pen podcast I heard this morning, but man, it works in perfectly. Get under the pettiness and see what you really respect about it. Realize that if you spot it, you got it. And while that's a great rhyme, a great little piece of language play, if you spot it, you got it. So if you see something in someone else, chances are it exists in you, or you wouldn't even see it. That may take a little longer to wrap your brain around, but I've studied it and watched this for a long time. And for me, it's always true. If I see something in someone that I'm envious of, it means I got it. Because there's all kinds of great stuff that people are doing, but I don't even see it because it doesn't even exist in me in any way. Someone who's great at macrame, someone who, well, see, now here's a place that may not be true. There's, I watch Michael Phelps, and I love swimming. Any of you really knew me, you would know that I'm up early, a lot of mornings, swimming 2 miles in a pool or in a lake, my favorite exercise. I watch Michael Phelps, and I see his butterfly stroke, and I am envious of it, not jealous, because I don't have that in me. I started swimming at 42. He started when he was probably learning to walk. So write or post something you love about that person. Here's where it goes from a practice into a freaking painful habit. And you want to slap jealousy right in the face? You want to let it know that it's not here to rule your butt? Write or post something good about the person that you actually envy. Yeah. So share it or tear it up, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do. You know, the main thing from that is I want you to write it out. Just get it out of your brain, into your hand, onto a screen in front of you. Acknowledge something that you actually really love about that person, that act, company, whatever it is, whatever you're having some jealousy with. Get it out of your head and get it so where you can read it and see it. Extra bonus, man, share it. Put it out into the world somewhere. Ooh, that's a big one. So step fully into what, and then the final step, step fully into what you have that is equally brilliant. It might be slightly different, or it might be something that's very much unidentifiable to that person. But whatever it is, go from the place of having it be from jealousy into a place of pride, brilliance, ownership. That is what takes it from a practice to a habit. Being able to identify when jealousy creeps in, when you identify it, identifying the comfort, the safety that it gives you, and then boom, running these 6 steps on it. Identify someone, get under the pettiness and find out what you actually really respect. And then realize, own that piece. Man, what is it that I see in them? And yeah, it exists in me. Realize that if you spot it, you got it. Write or post something that you love about it. Share it or tear it up, doesn't matter. And then that ownership piece, step fully into what you have inside of you that is equally brilliant. Everywhere. Everywhere. All right, let me just see what's going on. Let me see. Just this is. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, so let me catch up with a few of these comments. Oh, man, this is great, Dean. I'm glad this is touching you, man. Getting teary-eyed is awesome. Yeah, keep going. There's somebody better out there. Yeah, that's awesome, Mitch. I know you're going back to talking about your assistant there. That's an awesome, awesome belief to just even open the window on, that there's somebody better out there. Whew, I love that. Thomas, I am doing awesome, man. Thanks for checking in with me. I'm only able to talk about all this stuff because I've spent years and years and years doing the work that's allowed me to blossom as a performer, blossom as a businessman, realize that I had gotten every single thing that I wanted to get from being on stage, and then starting a couple of great new businesses that are kicking butt. So I appreciate you asking. Yeah, jealousy. Oh, good, Phil. Man, I'm so glad this is timely. I talked in a live the other day about this mythical, archetypal story, the hero's journey. these 12 stages that basically every movie, book, fairy tale, every good story follows this hero's journey arc, story arc. And one of the stages is a teacher or a mystical figure appears. So when you say the comments could not be more timely, Phil, I'll assume you're right at that stage, helping somebody out. And Dean, I'm not sure, he's traveling the world and has helped me a lot. Not sure who you're talking about on that, but man, I am so glad that you found someone who's helping you out. Good, let's go on to number 3 on this one here. The third of, what did I call these? The killers that are actually gifts. Good, and this one, procrastination, man. I don't know how many of you guys guessed it. In fact, put it in the comments. What did you guess the third one would be? Did anyone guess? I had talked about blame, jealousy. Did you guys have any guess on what the third one was? Procrastination. I could have actually done quite a few others for the third one, but it's enough for today. This procrastination, absolutely. This is nothing but living in a fairy tale. This is a fantasy world. This is not being honest with ourselves. It's like, you ever around an infant? I love this game infants play, like playing some kind of hide and seek game, and they hide and they assume, like, they're amazed that we can still see them when they're hiding their eyes. Very common game for those of us who traveled a lot in our lives. There's usually 1 out of every 5 flights of babies sitting right in front of you, and playing this game is par for the course for an entertainer on an airplane having some fun. It's childish and very real. It's both childish and very real procrastination. It's something that there, man. It's in the world, especially in this game of, pings and distractions and a million, great reasons of shiny objects to not do something right away. Procrastination wasn't as big a deal back a generation ago, 2 generations ago. It's like, those people got shit done. They had to do things. There wasn't all these reasons. There wasn't all these excuses. Procrastination has gotten, it's big. It's a serious problem right now. I'll step out on a limb and say that procrastination, at the root of procrastination, comes from the habit or the practice of saying yes too often. There's a lot of reasons why people say yes too often, or when they want to be saying no. Not going to go into that, way beyond the scope of this little live that we're doing here. But procrastination is often a byproduct of saying yes too often. So there is no procrastination when you love something. Not at all. You will never procrastinate on something that you are just so excited about and love doing. So let's look at the safety that is provided by procrastination. Think about it, man. It can make us feel strong and creative, right? It could make us feel like, I still got this big thing ahead of me. But you don't have to face the truth right now. That's another one too, right? There's a lot of safety in that. There's comfort in that. Some of us can say, I'm not procrastinating. I'm just giving it time to think. Man, I'll go back to full screen and I will raise a hand for fully guilty on that one. When I'm procrastinating, I often say I'm using this time to really think and let it develop. And yeah, sometimes there may be a little tiny bit of truth of that, but I mean, just if I'm to be honest with you guys right now, I will just tell you that 90% of the time when I say that, I've put off doing the work that I need to be doing. Because honestly, the creativity, the production happens the second, the sleeves go up, the lights go on, the computer comes on, the paper comes out, the whiteboard gets turned on, whatever it is, it comes alive right away. So it's a matter of taking that step. So it can make us feel busy too, right? If you procrastinate, that means you have so much to do, and there's some safety in that. There's some safety. One I don't think I wrote down, but procrastination, a byproduct of making us feel busy is, there's always a lot to do, and it's easy to confuse effort with results. No results will come from procrastination, and that's the killer of it. And it'll give us a sense of importance. That's because we're so busy. There's this false sense of importance about it. This is deep, honest shit, you guys. This is digging in. So let's turn it into a gift, right? Let's go on the other side of this coin. Water, tea, water, tea, water, tea, water, tea. Something for my voice. Go with the tea. It's really hot. Okay, procrastination. Let's turn it into a gift. Identify one place, one arena where this is common for you, right? Where a place where you often put stuff off, where you procrastinate. Jump on it first thing in the morning. Yep, I'm talking about first thing in the morning for a couple of reasons. Get it out of the way, plus the compounding feeling of accomplishment will make everything else you do that day feel so much easier. Say no the next few times you're asked to do anything in that particular category or arena. Just realize it, realize it, that it's one of those places where you have procrastination tendencies, and the next few times you're asked, just say no. I can't do it right now. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm in the middle of a scientific experiment. I'm doing a new practice, and part of it is just saying no to that right now. Damn, that's going to fire you up, and it's going to clear your schedule from the stuff you usually having to procrastinate on. We didn't even talk about the downside of these things. You know, I talked about the safety they provide. Each of the three of these has a downside that's so paralyzing, taking us into a place of toxic shame, guilt, compounding what they are, the desire and the willingness to blame, the power that we give procrastination. All three of these things that I'm talking about today, there's a downside to them, and I'm not even mentioning it because, heck, I think we all know those, you know, well enough. We don't really even need to go into those. And then evaluate after you've done that. Say no a few times, and then evaluate if this is something you want to say no to for good from now on. You know, the lizard brain doesn't want change, but Barry says change takes change. This is Barry saying change takes change. So, with all due respect to the lizard brain, loves nothing more than to never have change. I will stand by change takes change. So, evaluating, maybe it's something you just want to say no to. I will talk on a future live. In fact, I'll try and do it this weekend. I'm pretty sure I can do it this weekend. I'm going to talk about the actual stages that went into me retiring from Raspini Brothers after 34 years. There was a lot of that in there. There was a lot of blame. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a whole lot of procrastination. And I could tie that together. Not that I want you to, take that path and stop what you're doing. My gosh, the time will become clear for you to do that. But I think there's a great lesson in seeing how someone who was at the very top of their game just decided through doing a lot of looking at this stuff, how procrastination showed up. And when I got the power, when I felt it inside that, okay, this is complete, how easy it was to do that, to evaluate if I wanted to say no, growing and playing bigger in life. Good. And then celebrate the completion. Always a big part of this stuff. Don't just move on, man. Acknowledge yourself. Celebrate the completion. All right, I want to, that's it. ShowBiz Blueprint 2018. It happens once a year. Registration opens on March 27th, but March 20th, a week from, Tuesday, next Tuesday, I'm putting out 4 videos that are 4 training videos that are so powerful. They alone stand the potential to change the rest of your complete operating career. Get over to ShowBiz Blueprint. I didn't hook up the automatic thing that hooks you in from this one. I will have it for the replay, but head over to ShowBiz Blueprint and just put your name and email in there. I'll let you know when those videos are ready. It's a 10-week program, starts April 14th and runs through June 16th. I get it going once a year, and I literally live with you people for 10 weeks. Ask anyone who's alumni, and even after that, you are a blueprinter for life. It's what I do. Make sure you're on the notification list at showbizblueprint.com. And that'll end today's live, you guys. I'm going to head over to the comments. Let me just see if anything's going. Oh, no, that was it. He's traveling the world and has helped me a lot. That's the last one. All right, you guys. Pleasure to be with you today. Thanks for being courageous to stay in this. You could have been sitting in blame, in jealousy, or procrastination, but instead you chose to sit through this and look into your own life and see where this stuff is true, where you're willing to do the work, and how it could serve you going forward. Because I promise you, if you indeed tackle these 3 career killers and turn them into gifts, the impact that you have on the world will touch thousands, millions of lives, most of whom you will never know. Because what you give to an audience ripples out and touches, for every one audience member, touches 10, 100 lives. And that math adds up exponentially. Barry Friedman with ShowBiz Blueprint, like it says there in the corner. See you guys soon. Let me announce there's a couple questions. See, man, hit me. People were just wrapped. If we took ShowBiz Blueprint 4, can we take this class? Mitch, you know it, man. What did I say in that last slide? Where is it? Here it is. Blueprinters for life. You guys know that. You're every alumni of ShowBiz Blueprint is always welcome into the class again, and we do that So motivating, Barry Friedman. Thank you, Danny Orleans. You are the exact same, my friend, man. It's been one of the highlights of my last decade, getting to know you a bit. Yeah, thank you, Barry. Did you get my email, Mark? Yes, I did get that email, Mark. Thank you. Thanks for sending that. I really appreciate you opening up and telling me where you're at. I get that. That's it. Thomas, thank you, man. Thank you guys so much. I'll say adios. Catch you guys on the next one. I'll try and do one this weekend, give you a little earlier notice, but I will tell you the replays are just as yummy. Share this with someone you know, especially if you want to have them in your life as a mastermind partner. Powerful stuff. Talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.